Backtesting is probably the most useful tool to improve your trading, but it's also the tool that gets misused all the time. These are the three most common issues I kind of see with backtesting, right? Cope backtesting, where you're backtesting after you take a loss simply to cope with that loss, and you're essentially just taking your revenge out on a simulation. Over backtesting is where you're maybe backtesting way too frequently or for way too long of sessions, and your brain enters that analysis paralysis, and then you're not actually gathering accurate data. And then useless backtesting is where you're kind of just doing it. You're not gathering any actual data from it. You're not learning anything. You're just kind of doing it. You're not gaining anything from it. The solution to all these issues is so simple, though. There's zero reason to backtest unless you are actually going to utilize the tool to gather data. Trading is simply a probability game. If I ask you what is your average win rate and your average RR, at least your average RR target, you should know it. Cope backtesting is only going to waste your time. Over backtesting is only going to waste your time. Useless backtesting is only going to waste your time. How can you actually gather data? Stick to your main model / strategy, or if you have multiple of them that you trade consistently, stick to all of them. Record your trades in detail, specifically those losses. Think of it like, of course, you should be journaling your actual live trades, but you should also be doing the same with backtesting. I'm going to go over why, though. As well as keep your sessions short so data is as accurate as possible. I will also elaborate on why in a little bit as well. This is the little Notion template I have for backtesting data. I just cleared it all for just for this so it can look as simple as possible, right? I can leave a link to this template in the description as well. I think it's just a super simple Notion template. But essentially the way I do it, say I'm backtesting September 2022 and I take a loss on the 21st of September 2022, right? Wednesday, the 21st of September 2022. So I'll put the date of that loss. Execution, I will put screenshots of that loss on every relevant time frame. So I trade conditions plus inversions, right? So I would take a screenshot of the inversion, aka the confirmation time frame. Was it a 3-minute inversion? Then I'm uploading a screenshot of the 3-minute time frame. What was my condition? Was it a 5-minute? Was it a 15? Upload a screenshot of that time frame. What was my target? Was it a drawn liquidity on the 4-hour, the 1-hour? Put a screenshot of that time frame. And then for comments, I like to ask myself these 4 questions, right? What was my initial higher time frame bias going into that session? And then explain the entry. What was my condition, my confirmation, my target, or if you trade some other entry model, just put an explanation as to why you entered. Assuming it's a loss, why could it have failed? Why did this fail, right? And then is this a setup that you would take again? Did you like it enough that if you saw it again, you would take the same setup, assuming in your mind it has a higher probability it will actually play out than it will to fail? And then if you have any additional comments as well, I just put them in there as well, right? You don't have to follow this exact same formula. This is just what I do. This is what has helped me the most. But any way that you can gather accurate data and actually weed out losses, that's exactly the whole point of this. I'm sure obviously everyone is familiar with FX Replay. Maybe there's a different website you used. I don't know. FX Replay is the one I use. I'm going to go through this so basic. I literally made a whole new email to do this. If you don't know how to sign up, put in your email, sign up with email, create a username, and then, if you want to do the free trial method, just keep doing this to make free trials. This is a great tool. You should pay for it. I'm not going to pay for it. I'm going to start a 5-day free trial. And then just create a session. Yeah, and then you would just take a trade like normal. The setup is pretty decent. If it plays, it plays. If it doesn't, Okay, bad example, but, little flex right there. Easy trade right there. We tapped deeper into the hourly. Got a nice 2-minute inversion targeting this unmitigated, there it is, just this general buy side liquidity above. Super easy trade, but let's find a loss, right? Okay, here's a more mid trade, absolutely mid trade. Targeting this 15-minute unmitigated. Oh, look, we can't get a full 1-to-1. Target up here for a 1-to-1. And what are we going to do? Not go break even. Oh, no, we lost. Okay, boom. You took this loss right here, right? What was my condition here? All of these hourly gaps, right? Boom. Screenshot of the hourly time frame showcasing my condition. What was my confirmation? This really mid close on this 5-minute right here. Boom, 5-minute IFVG. Screenshot of the 5-minute. I had my safe break even right here. Why did I not go break even? Because I wanted to take a loss just for demonstration's sake. Take all that info, make sure you put the right date. For example, this was the 2nd of January 2026. Put that date there. Screenshots, and then ask yourself, so this is a pretty bad example, but what could I have done different? Why could this have failed? Well, because I didn't go break even when I was supposed to go break even. You put all that information in there, and then eventually, after you backtest, I don't recommend really backtesting more than 2 weeks in one sitting. But, you wait until you get a lot of losses, right? You wait until you have 5, maybe 10 losses, and then you look through them. And then you find the common denominator in all of those losses. Because trust me, there will be a common denominator. Maybe you'll see you're trading against your higher time frame bias. Maybe your higher time frame bias is bullish and you're taking shorts, right? Maybe you just had a very flawed drawn liquidity. You can actually utilize this to weed out those common denominators, and slowly you'll start taking less losses, see your win rate improve. Now, of course, backtesting isn't going to be fully the exact same as the live markets because there is more emotion involved in the actual live markets, understandably. But you'll be able to take your data, weed out those losses, and slowly over time in the live markets, that win rate is going to go up, 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 up. Maybe your trade frequency will go down, which will also result in higher quality trades and your win rate going up. I mean, it really is as easy as that. It really is as easy as just gathering the data on your losses. I only gather data for backtesting on my losses, but you could do it for your wins as well and find out what is the common denominator between all your wins and what do your losses not have that your wins do have. Same with like break evens or even like no trade conditions are really good to kind of gather data for. When should you not be trading? Even if you see your setup present itself, what conditions should you not be trading in, right? Let me see if I can find an example. And then you take a trade like this. This is a trade I'm not super confident in, so we're going to take it here just for example's sake, if it'll enter me in. Okay, guess we got to hit a refresh. Okay, well, I was doing really good on that. That was a new high score right there, but whatever. Oh my god, it failed. Okay, boom. That was a good example because it at least used my model there. Pulled that hourly right there, and then on the way down, we formed a new 5-minute, tapped into the 5-minute, and then got our 30-second inversion out of the 5-minute. And this is a loss taking my model, right? And why could this have failed? Well, as you can see on the 5-minute, conditions just a little more choppy. If you head to the 1-minute, I mean, these were the conditions we were trading in. I can show you infinite examples of how I would gather data, but that doesn't matter. You need to find your own way to gather data. You need to find your own way to weed out losses. You need to find your own way to find the common denominators in your wins, the common denominators in your losses, etc., whatever it may be. You need to find your own way to do it so it helps you, benefits you, gets you data on your trading, how you trade and how you can improve it, what you can do more of, what you should be doing less of, etc. Backtesting is so useless if you're not using it to gather the data that you need to gather. Backtesting isn't for fun. It was, fun when I first started backtesting. Now there's anything else in the world I'd rather do but backtesting. It's not supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be for gathering data. That's why I say do it in short bursts. You may be different, but I'm someone who's like, I do not want to be staring at the charts 24/7. I did that for 7-8 months when I first got into this, staring at the charts all day. Now it's my time to be on them less. Less equals more. Once you've learned the basics, once you've learned the fundamentals, once you've learned your model, less is more. Gather data slowly over time. You don't have to do a whole year in one sitting. You're not going to get accurate data backtesting a whole year in one sitting. I used to do that. I would just lay in bed with my laptop and just backtest for like 5 hours, 6 hours, and then be like, oh, why is my win rate depreciating? Well, because you've been sitting here doing it for 4 fucking hours, dude. Obviously, your win rate's going to depreciate. Also, this is a really good Dunkin' order. They started doing their protein milk. I got a medium iced latte, 2 hazelnut shots, 1 toasted almond shot, 2 Splenda with protein milk. It's actually really gas, but unrelated. But yeah, it really is that simple. I didn't even need to make this whole little diagram here. It really is that simple. It's as simple as backtest in short bursts, gather data, and see that data translate to the live market. It's as easy as that. If you're profitable backtesting and you're not profitable in the live market, and you have a 70% win rate targeting a 1-to-1 RR between a 1-to-1 and a 2 RR. Those are my stats. 70% win rate targeting a 1-to-1 to a 1-to-2. If you go in the live market and then over a period of time you realize, oh, my win rate's 45%, my win rate's 50%. But backtesting, it was 65-70. Well, guess what? There's something that is translating differently to the live market. Typically, it's a psychology issue. It actually almost always, 99% of the time, is a psychology issue. Yeah, you can have losing streaks on the live market that you would have in backtesting, but if your overall win rate is very different from your backtesting win rate, it's a deeper psychology issue that you need to figure out. Could be over trading, could be under trading, could be overconfidence, could be underconfidence, whatever it may be. There's not much a different human can actually do to help you except tell you you can't fucking do that. Stop over trading, stop under trading, stop over risking, stop under risking, stop being overconfident, stop being underconfident, etc. I can tell you that, but that stuff you have to do yourself. Backtesting is for gathering mechanical data. And once that mechanical data is 1-to-1 with your data you're actually getting on the live market, once your win rate is the same backtesting as it is on the live market, okay, you're good. If it isn't the same, you got psychology issues that just need to be fixed. Everyone goes through these while trading, especially earlier on in your journey, you're going to go through these psych issues. Over trading, under trading, over risking, under risking, everything I said, and there's even more. Figure out what psychology issue are you having? Are you just simply not following your rules? Are you just kind of scared? What is it? That's something completely separate you have to figure out. That's something I cannot really help you with. There's a million videos out there telling you what to do, but again, it doesn't matter what people tell you to do. You have to actually go and do it. You have to actually figure out your psych issue. If you have an over trading issue, stop over trading. If you have an under trading issue, stop under trading. You have an over risking issue, stop over risking. Like, they're very, very simple, but it's all mental. That's stuff you got to figure out on your own. I'm just here to teach you how to gather the data, man. Anyway, yeah, only reason I make this is because this is something I wish someone had told me earlier. Like, you actually have to gather data backtesting. You can't just kind of sit there and backtest and expect to get better. Sure, you will get better, but you will not get better as fast as if you were to actually collect data and analyze the data that you collect. This is just shit I wish I had earlier on in my journey. That's the whole goal with every video I make on this channel. These are videos and information and sauce that I wish I had when I started, right? But yeah, that's all I had. Let me see if I can find the break even I took today. Okay, I think it was just 1 minute right here. I'm pretty sure it was 1 minute. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just 1 minute right here. Going break even at the internal highs and then targeting it was hourly buy side liquidity. There you go. Beautiful setup right here. Tapping into this 5 minute right here and got 1 minute version of it. Such a beautiful setup. It was such an unfortunate break even rate, but is what it is. Let me know if y'all had that break even rate today. But that's the end. That's the end. That's all I had to say. But don't let me get sidetracked because I could talk for hours.